AEW Dynasty 2024, 3 horrible booking decisions made by Tony Khan, and let's get into it, because Dynasty was an interesting show. It was a long show, as I mentioned in my results video. It was a 5-hour show, 4-hour main card, 1-hour pre-show, and obviously the last 4 matches or so were very, very good. The Will Ospreay Bryan Danielson was an all-time classic. The ladder match between FTR and the Young Bucks was absolutely phenomenal. The return of Jack Perry to help FTR lose, or cause FTR to lose, help the Young Bucks go over, that was great. Getting to see a heartfelt moment at the end with Swerve Strickland going over Samoa Joe and winning the AEW World Heavyweight title, that was a special moment. Pac and Okada opening the show, that was a lot of fun. Now that was all the positives. Let's get into the negatives. Starting at number 3, it was having 3 pre-show matches. Now I understand a lot of you are going to be like, well, that's reaching, and it's like, no. Look at these pre-show matches. They were not necessary. The only match that was necessary was the trios match, where you had Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn going over the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn in a winners-take-all title unification match for the AEW World Trios titles and the ROH World 6-man tag team titles. That was the only match that was necessary in that. You should have done a 30-minute block for that pre-show, for the pre-show matches. So you have the first hour, or the first 30 minutes, be a bunch of talking, and then you go into there. We did not need Trent Beretta going over Matt Sydal. We did not need Shibata and Orange Cassidy going over Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. I'm sorry, we didn't. Those are Rampage matches. Don't put them on your freaking pay-per-view pre-show. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, and I don't think a lot of people do either. It's unnecessary. Not when you have a 8-card main card. Right? It's unnecessary, and it just kind of drags things out even more. We're going to get our money's worth, Tony. I appreciate you making the extra effort, but to a certain degree, it's detrimental to the product, because it's like, whatever. And so when you start making matches just like, whatever, then it's time to reevaluate, right? At number 2, it is Julia Hart losing the TBS Championship to Willow Nightingale. I thought this was a major miss by AEW. Now, 2 preferences, a few things. 1, Julia Hart did come into this match injured. She suffered an ankle injury, I believe, some sort of injury in a recent Rampage match. Also, the winner of this match was going to wrestle Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing. This will be Moné's in-ring debut for AEW, and it will mark the first match in nearly a year that she has wrestled. She last competed against Willow Nightingale over in New Japan over the summer, when she suffered that devastating injury that resulted in her undergoing surgery. I thought this was a major miss going into the show. I thought you should have had Mercedes do the Willow Nightingale match, get a revenge, and then go on and face Julia Hart at Double or Nothing, giving Julia time to heal up even more, because we still don't know the severity of the injury, but clearly she was able to work through it. So instead of Hart going over Willow by cheating, and then you setting up Julia versus Moné, which is a bigger match. Keep in mind, Julia's held that championship for 155 days. AEW built her up in a significant way. You also are able to get the revenge, aspect of the Moné storyline and her journey from Willow. Then you beat Hart. Hart can go away for a while, and then you have Moné off and running with the TBS title. Now we have Willow Nightingale, who, yes, did score a big win. She won the championship. Now she's going to go face Moné. After the match, they completely overshadowed Willow's big moment, because they had to have Monet, who completely took the spotlight from Willow, something in which they mentioned on freaking commentary, to set up the Double or Nothing match with Monet. So you missed out on 2 opportunities. Now, yeah, you can do the Julia Hart-Monet match, but it's at a later time and it won't be as big as it would have been. Not only did you overshadow Willow's moment, now we're going to go in less than a little bit over a month and a few days. We're going to go into Double or Nothing. Willow's title reign it'll mean nothing because Monet's going to beat her for the title, right? Like, so we ended Julia Hart's reign for no reason. We put the title on Willow for no reason. We overshadowed the victory, the big win, for no reason. You could have easily had Monet come out there on Wednesday, right? We already saw her watching in the backstage area, right? And AEW doesn't necessarily care about advertising who is going to be at its shows, right? It on so many different levels, this booking decision is mind-boggling to me. It really, really is. In retrospect, this should have been my number 1, but I digress. Now, at number 1, I do have this. It's Chris Jericho winning the FTW title. I thought this was a complete miss by AEW. So, the story of this was Chris Jericho was trying to be a mentor to Hook, who did not want to have a mentor. And so Jericho kind of pushed himself on him as like his tag team partner and mentor. And then when Jericho was trying to talk Hook into some sense, he pushes Taz down, and so Hook gets into his face and challenges Jericho to the match. Jericho does not want to do the match. Then you have Hook beat up Jericho the entire time, and then all of a sudden Jericho hits him in the head with a baseball bat and wins the championship. So, and then after the match, Jericho was apologizing for what he did. So you beat a young prospect just to get more heat on Jericho. Oh, and by the way, you take the title that doesn't mean anything off of him, but you put it on Jericho. And now Hook is mad at Jericho for hitting him in the head with a baseball bat, and he's apologetic about it. This was way overcomplicated, and there's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Simply put, all you had to do was you would have had Hook steal a win, whether it be a quick roll-up or whatever. It infuriates Jericho for losing to this guy who he's trying to mentor. After the match, Jericho turns heel, hits him in the head with a baseball bat, and walks away. You keep the title on Hook because you insist on booking this stupid title, and you take no heat off of Hook. You actually add more heat to Hook because he beat Jericho, a future Hall of Famer. And you also put a tremendous amount of heat on Jericho without just lingering it on. You're going to do a rematch in May at Double or Nothing. We're still getting to this point. We're just really just stretching it out like string cheese for whatever reason. Like, I don't understand. But, yeah, those are my 3 horrible booking decisions made by Tony Khan at AEW Dynasty.